stand today and declare that we will stand against the tyranny that's happening here in this country right now and in New Zealand. So right now, give it up for the Man Up 2 Tangata Haka team. I'm going to give it over to our team right now. Oh, with the ball!
Hi everybody, welcome. I just want to firstly say, for those of you who don't know us, I'm Daniela and this is my co-host Rani. We are very humbled and honoured to be standing here in front of so many amazing warriors. Welcome today. I would like to note that today is not about whether you are pro or anti anything. Today is actually about unity. We are all coming together regardless of religion, cultural backgrounds, whether you're pro or anti-vaccine. Today it's about uniting collectively to fight the biggest fight of our life so that we can protect our children and the future generations so that they can live a free and safe future. That is why we are all here today.
Yeah, wow. It's crazy to see this amount of people here. So thank you so much everyone for coming. It is such a beautiful feeling standing here looking at everyone.
Right on the mark.
Sorry. So thank you everyone so much for coming. So we have our second speaker, Senator Malcom Roberts.
Hello! Hello! Look at this, it's wonderful. Look what we're doing. Someone over here said this is not, where's your poster on the, no, thank you. This is not scientific, it's sadistic. Hands off our kids. Look over here, end medical apartheid now. Forced jabs are crimes against humanity. A pedo has more privacy than we do. But my basic message is, the momentum is changing. The momentum is changing. Let me just give you a few examples. Last night I was at Redlands. They were expecting, in 3 days' notice, they expected to get a couple of hundred people. The hall was packed, standing room only, 500. And I had to yell into the microphone so the people outside could hear. And they were there because they want freedom. Freedom. It wasn't about being injected or not injected. It was about freedom. Think about some of these things. Daniel Andrews invoked a lockdown in Victoria when there were around 200 cases a day. When there were 2,000 cases a day, he removed the lockdown. Bullshit! Bullshit! Now here's why. Here's why he did it. The CFMEU rank and file marched on the union bosses and gave them hell because they didn't stand up for workers. The CFMEU rank and file marched in the streets along with teachers, nurses, doctors, policemen. They marched in the streets. They were fired upon in our country. But they kept marching, and Andrews realised he was buggered, so what did he do? Remove the lockdown. Palaszczuk hasn't learnt that lesson yet. She will. The next thing, up at Livingston Shire Council, which is in Yeppoon, Senator Pauline Hanson, the hardest working, most competent senator in Australia's federal parliament, she addressed them last Monday week. She addressed a meeting of 400 people in small business and residents in Yeppoon. They took to the council the next day, and Livingston Shire Council had a unanimous motion that was passed unanimously to tell the government what they could do with their mandate. They were going to stand up for their small businesses in Yeppoon and Livingston. Now that doesn't mean they'll get it, but they have said if the state government intervenes and fires them, who cares? They don't mind. Then we had Fraser Coast Shire Council. Then we had Banana, and now there's a fourth one. And the meeting's in Redlands, meeting tomorrow in Bow Desert. There's a groundswell coming from the people. The people. Pauline and I have said that we will vote against the government on every bill they put forward until they change this nonsense. And yes, and on Thursday, the Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, called us and said, can you please pass our bill on, I won't go into the details, and we said no. No. Because we've got the balance of power at certain times in the federal Senate, and we are exercising that for the people. Why am I in Parliament? To listen to you and then to speak for you. That's my role. Every speech I start in the Senate, that's more than a couple of minutes long, I start with the words. This is for the very first speech and every speech since. I am a servant to the people of Queensland and Australia. And I'll come back to this because when I uttered those words first, the people on the Labor Party laughed. The people on the Liberal Party laughed. Are they laughing now? You've got to take that grin off their face. I want to acknowledge Liberal senators, Gerard Rennick and Alex Antig, who are abstaining. Yes, give them a hand. Because they're abstaining from voting from their own government's bills until they stop some of these practices. So thank you, Gerard. Now I also want to mention, I heard this morning that ATAGI, I can't remember what they stand for, but they're regulating a lot of the health practices and the injections. They have broadened the exemption categories for getting exemption from the injections. Last night, they did it quietly, very quietly. But now, if you've had, I haven't got all the details, a colleague of mine in our party sent me the link, I'm going to look at the link later. But this is one of them. If you have had an adverse reaction from the first injection, that can be a grounds for exemption from the second one. So why are they doing this? Why are they doing it? Because of you. That's why they're doing it. Because we've got to keep this pressure up. But that doesn't mean you should go and have your first one and say you had exemptions. Don't have any of them in my book. I'm not going to be injected. Not injected. Yes. But now I want to reach out to those because we know that 40% of people who have been injected did so under coercion. Coercion. That is brutal and wrong. And some of these people are worried about what will happen to them. So I'm going to talk now to every person who's been injected. 1 dose, 2 dose. We're with you. We understand that many of you don't want to be injected and you've been forced to. We don't feel any worse towards you, any better towards you. If an injected brother came up to me and a non-injected, you're the same. You are the same. But I have empathy. I have empathy for those who've been injected under coercion. Nurses every day make sure people are given informed consent. And then they're under instructions to be jabbed, to be injected. That is completely wrong. Teachers too. Federal workers too. So just think about this. the basic message from my first opening is stand the line. Hold the line. Stand up. I will not be injected. Pauline will not be injected. We know some others. All of us! Think about what's happening in this country. How do you lead? What you do when you lead, and I've done it in business, is you get the data. You listen to the people, whether they be customers or employees. Then you paint a vision, that honest vision. Then you develop the plan, and then you pull people towards you if they want to go. You're only a leader if you've got people who want to follow. Who want to follow. If you are pushing at the back, you are a bully, not a leader. And that's what we've got in this country. We don't have leaders in the premiers. We don't have leaders in the Prime Minister. We have liars, thugs, intimidators and bullies. I'll ask you all a question, a simple question. Always, beneath control there is fear. They are terrified of us. That's why they're controlling us. And we swallowed some of it. When I say we, most of the people have swallowed it. But look at this. You're waking up. That's beautiful. I want to talk briefly about the virus characteristics, because I won't go into the details, but I had dug this out of the government. The virus is classified as highly transmissible. It is, just like the flu. It is also classified in severity as being low to moderate. You heard me, low to moderate. Not severe, not high severity. Like many past flus, it is less significant in terms of severity than many past flus. Think about this in the death data. There is no pandemic of deaths, none at all. There is no pandemic. With a pandemic, you have to have a pandemic of deaths, none. And some people might say, that's because lockdowns in Australia. Bullshit. It's because there's no pandemic of deaths. Sweden had an increase in deaths, but now they're coming back to the mean. All they did was pull a few deaths forward, but they're coming back to the mean. Taiwan has done a spectacular job. If you look at the global figures, there is no pandemic of death. This has been concocted. Now, people do die from COVID. I'm not denying that. But that means they have to be treated with a proper plan. So let's consider some of those things. The second thing about death data is that the deaths in Australia follow a cycle from season to season. And they follow a band from season to season. There is no pandemic of death, but there is now, above the upper range of deaths, significantly, deaths that are coinciding with the start of injections. That is fact. The second thing about that death data is the federal government used to release it 2 weeks after the month. We haven't got it now since the 20th of June. So what are they doing? Are they hiding the deaths due to injections? We know they are. They made a couple of changes on their website as a result of my questions, but they're still hiding the deaths since June. We know that in America, they've had 16,000 deaths as of the end of July. Europe, 30,000. 46,000 deaths from injections. Now, the third figure on deaths is that the TGA, Therapeutic Goods Administration, has had reported to them, it's on their website, 546 deaths due to injections, according to doctors. And when I challenged them in the Senate estimates on that, I thought the TGA head was going to have a heart attack. He exploded. And he said, no, it's only 9. 9, really? How come? And I went back to the website and found it is 546 reported deaths. They have revised the figures down. So I've asked the question, I'm waiting for the answer. Show me the process by which you reclassify a doctor's verdict and you reclassify that as not due to injections. Did they have blood samples? Did they have an autopsy? Did they have tissue cultures? We want to know. There's a lot of things we've got to dig into because the TGA has not tested these injections in Australia. It has taken the word of the injection manufacturers. That's not working for us. I also want to talk about Pfizer. There's one figure you need to know about Pfizer. Their own income figures project an income this year of $43.5 billion. This is all about money and nothing else. This is the first time in our country's history that a government has injected healthy people with something that can kill them and is killing them. Genocide! It is the first time in our country's history that a government has withheld proven, safe, affordable, accessible treatment from sick people and let them die. They have banned ivermectin. I've taken it myself. It is one of the top 100 drugs of all time according to the UN itself. And we've banned it in this country for treating COVID. Doctors are being smashed, practices destroyed, invaded, privacy being smashed. Yeah, it's murder, it's genocide. Withholding that is genocide. But let me tell you something. The TGA sent me a letter a few months ago saying, you've been talking about ivermectin in public. Oh, God, surely not. And they accused me of advertising it. They accused a representative of the people, listening to the people and talking about it publicly. 3.5-page letter of threats, implied threats. So I wrote back to them and said, they expected me to kowtow and just say, give up. No. With bullies, what do? You get them you stand right up to their face. So what I said back to them was, how dare you interfere with the work of a representative of the people duly elected? And how dare you, because the government has blood on its hands. You know what their answer was? Thank you for your letter. The problem here is government. The second problem is media. I've had experiences with the media where they turn the truth into lies. They turn lies into the truth. I've cancelled my subscription to Sky News because it has become a propagandist. I no longer listen to 2GB, 4B, whatever it is, C in Brisbane, because they have become propagandists. They get enormous funds through advertising from the government. Same with the Weekend Australian. We don't buy papers. My wife buys the Weekend Australian to look at the magazine. That's it. There's nothing else of value in that paper. But remember, who decides what media they buy? We do. You do. So cancel your subscriptions to these globalist media. I also want to make another comment. It's not just the media. It's not just our state and federal and territory governments. It's a global apparatus underway. We know that. It's not Western. It's not white. It's not European. It's not to hurt any distinct race, religion, anything like that. This is about hurting humanity, about controlling humanity. That's what this is about. It's not about what they're trying to do is separate injected versus non-injected, and then tell me that I'm hurting, I'm a threat to the injected. If your damn injections are so damn good, why am I a threat to you? Isn't that the truth? Government is being used to control people. They won't release to a people's representative anything about the contracts they've signed with Pfizer, AstraZeneca, because it's commercial in confidence. Bullshit! I am authorising these expenditures when I stand in the Senate and vote for them, but I'm not doing it as my money, I'm doing it as our money on our behalf. And that's wrong. We need to know. You need to know. India, I just saw this morning, the Indian Prime Minister has stood up. We know they're using ivermectin. They're using it successfully. They know that the ivermectin is a prophylactic. It prevents access to the virus to your body. It also it cures people very quickly, safe for more than 40, 50, 60 years. No serious adverse side effects, minor adverse effects on a few people. But this will stop the virus in its tracks. I had a slip up there. It will also stop the vaccine in its tracks. And that's why it's banned. That's why it's banned, because our TGA is not protecting us. They're savaging us and killing us because they're not using ivermectin in this country for COVID. And a doctor cannot be frank with his patient, because if he is, he or she, the doctor, will lose their practice. It's happening in this country. In Germany, one of the ladies at the Redlands Bay last night came up to me afterwards and said she's a German, of German descent. Her brother in Germany, uninjected, is now facing a curfew. This virus only hits the uninjected, apparently, and only at night. Very clever virus. Yesterday, I came down here and went further south to the border. According to the border residents, I saw the bollard, touched the bollard. I didn't get infected, but there are 20,000 people, Queenslanders, who can drive home and right now, if they were allowed to, they're prevented from coming in by the Premier of this state. Boo! Now, the Premier of this state has told them, now, first of all, there's no virus in northern New South Wales. There was a virus case in Tugun just a couple of weeks ago. There is virus in Sydney. No, that's probably not now. So what our Premier is telling them to do, she won't let them drive, fill up their car in Tweed Heads with fuel and drive all the way to Bundaberg. She's stopping them. She's saying, drive to Sydney, fly to Brisbane. Interact with other people on the plane, interact with other people on the ground, and then you can go home. So, the core problem, I'll tell you the core problem, then I'll finish. The core problem is the United Nations World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, World WWF, Greenpeace, the Greens, because the Greens are pushing injections, mandated injections. They completely lost the plot. The Labor Party, the Liberal Party, and the National Party. If you think this is bad, have a look at the 700-page Digital Integrity Bill. It's coming and it's laying the groundwork for your data to be sold to overseas corporations and then for you to have to pay to access your health data. Other things. I'm serious. It'll set up a social credit system, which we don't want. So the core problem is parliaments and lack of parliamentary accountability. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because we as voters have just kept voting for the same old donkeys. It's our fault. And we have the power to change that. So change, if you want to stop this, and I know you do, change the parliaments. Change the parliaments.
Nice. Hello everyone, my name is Spirit. That's my music name. I'm a local from the Gold Coast. I'm a local hip-hop artist, and I just want to share one song with everyone that's very connected to these times. Let this song bring out the warrior, because we need the soldiers, we need the warriors right now. Run it. Front lines, nobody here. Grown men, they swallow that fear. Truth hits and they all disappear. They don't know about blood, sweat, tears. So clear that it's all just talk, bruh. 10 steps ahead of their walker. Gotta put that soul in the soldier. World on fire, but I couldn't get colder. Know the city, I know my circuit. These streets deserted. Speak with knowledge and purpose. Lone wolves said to talk about who. Sheep are easily herded. I stand my ground with a clan full of men, the realest you heard of. I told you, we need the men, we need the soldiers. Can't keep serving these leaders, these vultures. Same damn ones that killed my culture. They killed my culture. Now hear me roar, this is my war cry. I told you, we need the men, we need the soldiers. Can't keep serving these leaders, these vultures. Same damn ones that killed my culture. They killed my culture. Now hear me roar, this is my war cry.
beside me. This last week we have been taken up to the government. We have told them what we want. We want our freedom. We want our choice. It is our choice what we put into our bodies. This week we put our bill on the floor of Parliament. It was defeated, but it didn't surprise me. I have not given up and I will not give up. But of those 5 senators that supported our bill, I thank them. But those 25 that never even bothered to register a vote, where do they stand on your freedom? And under the Constitution, 5123A, it states that the government cannot impose civil conscription on anyone for medical procedures. That's exactly why he hasn't come out and imposed it, and that's why he said all along, he said, I am not for mandating vaccinations, because he can't under our Constitution, but he's reluctant to rein in the premiers. This bill that I put up, if it got the support, it would comply with the section 109 of the Australian Constitution, which would state that if you have a conflicting federal and a state law, the federal law overrides the states. I have been true to my word. I said I would not vote on any government legislation, and we haven't. Malcom and I control 2 of the votes that the government needs 3 to get their legislation through. We have made him a lame duck because he can't do it. Our freedom is more important to me than any of the legislation which I might agree with, but I refuse to vote for it purely for this is more important to me than anything. And I have told him, even this next week of last sitting in Parliament this year, they intend to go to Parliament next February. I will not support any of their legislation, regardless, until they deal with what we want. Your support. I am so privileged to be a member of Parliament, for a senator for Queensland, for my fellow Queenslanders, but it doesn't stop at borders for me. It's about representing all Australians without fear or favour. Nothing's changed for politicians. We have not been told we have to get vaccinated. Our staff have not been told they have to get vaccinated. We are treated totally different to you. That is wrong. My stance is on behalf of the Australian people, those ones that get up on the phone to me, their letters that come to me constantly. And under the Constitution, 5123A, it states that the government cannot impose civil conscription on anyone for medical procedures. That's exactly why he hasn't come out and imposed it, and that's why he said all along, he said, I am not for mandating vaccinations, because he can't under our Constitution, but he's reluctant to rein in the premiers. This bill that I put up, if it got the support, it would comply with the section 109 of the Australian Constitution, which would state that if you have a conflicting federal and a state law, the federal law overrides the states. I have been true to my word. I said I would not vote on any government legislation, and we haven't. Malcom and I control 2 of the votes that the government needs 3 to get their legislation through. We have made him a lame duck because he can't do it. last week of last sitting Parliament this year. They intend to go to Parliament next February. I will not support any of their legislation, regardless, until they deal with what we want. Your support. I am so privileged to be a Member of Parliament for a Senator for Queensland, for my fellow Queenslanders, but it doesn't stop at borders for me. It's about representing all Australians without fear or favour. Nothing's changed for politicians. We have not been told we have to get vaccinated. Our staff have not been told they have to get vaccinated. We are treated totally different to you. That is wrong. My stance is on behalf of the Australian people, those ones that get on the phone to me, their letters that come to me constantly, people that are crying because they're going to be thrown out of their housing, their accommodation, their jobs. And I see the signs are being held here. My mum just died, and our NGOs are paying my support. That's another big thing with NGOs. Children, give us our freedom back. That's to keep our jobs. Keep our hands up. To see so many people here of all different ages, from all different cultural backgrounds. But at the end of the day, we are the most beautiful country in this world. I still believe that. We must stand strong and united, regardless of your cultural background, where you come from. It's about our basic human rights. I just want to tell all of you that Atagi, and you can go to my Facebook page, Pauline Hanson's Please Explain. Last night at Targi, they actually changed the exemption for getting the vaccination. They have broadened it now. So if you have heart conditions, myocarditis or pericarditis, you have other issues, mental illnesses, if you also have if you've had the COVID, that you really shouldn't be having the vaccination, because if you've had the COVID, you've got your own immunity system there and you shouldn't be getting another COVID jab. So go and have a look at that. Know your rights and take that to doctors and tell them that you want an exemption. So go and have a look at that. Maybe the pressure that's put on them this last week has made them extend the extension rights to a lot of people. So go and have a look at that. No more jabs! No more jabs! No more jabs! So those people